啦，呢一篇 comprehension 咧就係話香港嘅食物啦。Hong Kong's food is unique mix of Eastern and Western flavours。咩叫 unique 咧？即係好獨一無二 ，very special 咁嘅意思。咁即係有東方亦都有西方嘅味道啦。Which has earned its a global reputation for its local meals。reputation 咧即係話咧有一個即係呢個 global 係全世界即係都知名係話佢哋嘅香港嘅食物係好特別啦。Hong Kong's food culture reflects all the changes that Hong Kong has experienced in the past 100 years。而香港呢個食物嘅文化啦，咩叫 reflects 咧？係反映咧，反映咗嗰個嘅所有嘅變化喺過去幾百年嘅變化。Rice has been a key part of the Hong Kong diet for hundreds of years。咁而乜嘢係我哋嘅主糧咧？嗱，主糧嘅英文咧係叫做 staple。OK，staple 即係 means 即係嗰個主要嘅糧食啦。我哋香港人都係米。Records show that Hong Kong produced rice as early as the 17th century. Until the mid-20th century, rice was the most popularly grown product in Hong Kong。咁去到差唔多20世紀，即係20世紀中期，都係依然啲人都係種米嘅。20世紀即係1950年代嗰陣時。大概1950年嗰陣時啦。Later, the increasing population meant that growing vegetables and farming animals became more popular。咁後尾咧，因為咧人口增加啦，咁種米香港地方好少啦，所以其實啲米都係即係會變咗好貴嘅，即係因為佢嗰個地要好多先種到米，於是咧就寧願要種菜啦，同埋種呢個嘅牲畜啦。Fishing also has a long history in Hong Kong。For example, there is evidence of oyster farming， 即係話咧，以前喺深灣嗰度咧係有生蠔嘅，咁但係咧就當然係而家冇晒啦。佢話 there is evidence 即係有證據咧，就evidence of oyster farming in Deep Bay from the 19th century. However, as a result of Hong Kong's rapid development over the past few decades,paddy fields for growing rice are nowhere to be seen。咁原因係點解咧？就係話香港嘅變化好大啦。咁於是 paddy 即係 rice，paddy fields 即係話咧種米嘅農田咧就係 are nowhere to be seen， 就 that means 係唔再見到啦。And a mere 點解咧 ？Only 10% of fish eaten in Hong Kong are taken from local waters。Rice, vegetables, livestock and fish are mostly imported from abroad。即係話咧，大部分我哋食嘅嘢食材咧，都係從海外過嚟啦。好啦，我哋睇翻第一題啦。According to the writer, why is Hong Kong well known for its food？ 點解香港會 well known， 即係意思會出名咧？我哋嘅食物點解會出名咧？咁睇翻到第一題啦，就係話佢話咧 Hong Kong's food is unique mix of Eastern and Western flavours。咁所以咧，我哋就 earn a global reputation for its local meals。咁調翻轉頭問你點解我哋嘅 local meals 好出名咧？就係因為我哋嘅食物係 is a unique mix of Eastern and Western flavours。就係 rice 啦。咁所以咧，你答翻呢一度咧，就會話係 rice was produced for the longest time in Hong Kong according to the evidence。好啦，第三題啦。What was it that caused rice farming to become less prevalent？prevalent 咧就點解咧係冇咁盛行啊？佢而家係指緊咧嗰啲嘅即係種米嘅農莊咧點解會減少咁嘅意思？咁題目我哋睇翻啦，佢就係話咧，佢話 until the mid-20th century, rice was the most popularly grown product in Hong Kong。咁去到之後點解咧？接住就係個原因啦，就係 because the increasing population meant that growing vegetables and farming animals became more popular。咁就係發覺咧，就係因為人口增加，所以咧佢哋寧願係種嗰啲菜或者係即係養嗰啲牲畜。咁所以個答案咧喺呢一度咧就會係講咧就係話what was it that caused， 即係究竟係乜嘢引致啦？咁你就會係你會寫翻 the increasing population of Hong Kong meant that rice farming became less prevalent。就會冇咁盛行啦，因為咧就係人口增加啦。 咁啊，第四題啦 ，describe what is meant by the phrase nowhere to be seen。nowhere to be seen 咧，即係冇地方見過啊。咁即係 means 乜嘢咧？咁你就會寫翻咧，the phrase 即係一個小句啦 ，nowhere to be seen means that you cannot see them anywhere。咁就係嗰個嘅 meaning 啦，就係話咧，就係周圍都見唔到。第五題啦 ，Today where does most of Hong Kong's food come from？ 咁究竟佢問你嗰個題目係問你 where 啊嘛，即係邊度嚟啊嘛。咁你會睇翻咧，就會話呢度佢有講咧，就係話rice, vegetables, livestock, fish are mostly import from abroad， 即係從外國嚟㗎啦。咁所以咧，你係 from other countries 咯。咁所以你寫翻咧就係today most Hong Kong food comes from 邊度咧？你可以用翻 abroad 啦，或者係寫 other countries 都得。好啦，第六題啦。Apart from offering different types of food, how else do restaurants in Hong Kong cater for Eastern and Western cultures？ 咁我哋咧就會睇埋下一段啦。佢話咧 ，despite these changes，despite 即係儘管咁嘅意思，即係儘管咧嗰個嘅呢啲咁樣嘅改變啦。Hong Kong's food culture remains an interesting mix of Chinese and Western flavors and practices。即係話香港嘅食物文化係好多即係中西合璧啦。Breakfast in Hong Kong can range from Chinese-style congee 即係粥啦 ，steamed bun or dim sum to Western foods like sausage, fried egg, and toast. Many restaurants in Hong Kong offer both Eastern and Western utensils。好啦，呢一度咧你就會見到咧，好多餐廳咧係會提供即係東方啊或者西方嘅 utensil 式嗰啲食具啊，即係用嚟譬如有刀叉，亦都有筷子提供嘅。咁所以呢一個咧就係話佢問你how else do restaurant 啲餐廳啦 ，how else do restaurants in Hong Kong cater for both Eastern and Western cultures？ 即係 cater for 咧，即係迎合咁嘅意思。點樣去迎合呢一個嘅東方同西方嘅文化咧？咁佢哋就會嘗試提供即係中同西嘅食具都會有啦。咁所以你會寫翻咧就係 restaurants in Hong Kong cater for Eastern and Western cultures by offering Eastern and Western utensils。 係啦，就佢哋有即係有東方同西方嘅，即係東方就係筷子啦，西方就係刀叉嘅食具啦。咁好啦，咁除咗佢哋有唔同嘅用具之外咧 ，this mixture of cultures stem from 咧，即係解乜嘢咧？即係源於咁嘅意思。OK， 源於乜嘢咧 ？Hong Kong's history as a British colony 係英國嘅殖民地。Today the combination of cultures and flavors appeals to the many international visitors to Hong Kong。咁現在呢一個即係集合咗呢個文化同埋啲味道咧，令到好多啲國際遊客咧都好即係會受到佢嘅吸引。appeals 咧即係會吸引咁嘅意思，即係會吸引到好多啲國際嘅旅客啦。咁呢一度咧，你會見到啦 ，which phrase in the final paragraph means developed as a result of， 即係發展啦，係因為係乜嘢嘅結果而發展咧？個答案咧就係 stems from 啦。你會睇翻咧 match 到落去嘅就係 this mixture of cultures develop as a result of Hong Kong's history。你呢一個係可以直情係放翻頭先嗰個 develop as a result of 嘅句子落去。咁所以咧 stems from 咧就係個答案啦。咁佢問你 the phrase 啊嘛，咁所以咧你會寫翻咧就係你會寫翻咧就係stems from means developed as the result of。 接住咧就到呢一度啦，就會係 Who is particularly attracted by the mixture of East and West in Hong Kong food today？ 咁究竟係乜嘢係特別即係會因為呢一個嘅 mixture of East and West in Hong Kong 而受到佢嘅吸引咧？咁頭先我哋都講過啦，就係嗰啲嘅 international visitors 啦，就會受到佢嘅吸引啦。咁所以咧就會寫翻 Who is particularly interested 咧，就係寫翻 international visitors are particularly attracted by the mixture of East and West in Hong Kong food today。好啦，接住 Comprehension 2啦，就會見到 Lunch at Mario's Italian Restaurant, where traditional Italian food is served in a traditional Italian way。咁有3種嘅餐廳啦，你會見到。咁好啦，呢個第一個啦 ，What is the text type of the above document 係咩嚟嘅咧？呢個當然係一個 menu 啦。Which is the most expensive set of meal？ 而邊一個係最貴咧？就你會見到咧，就會係呢個510啦、220同埋430。咁當然咧就係會係meal A 啦。至於第3個啦 ，Sandra does not eat meat. Which meal should be chosen？ 咁呢一個咧，你會見到咧就係呢一個lasagna 係解千層麵啦，即係有肉㗎啦。咁另外咧就會係接住呢一個 spaghetti bolognese 啦，係解即係呢個都係一定有肉嘅，一定有肉嘅。咁所以只有係 meal B， 即係只有咧係可以係只會係B 咧先至係一啲 vegetarian 可以食嘅嘢。咁另外啦，就會係第4題啦 ，How many days a week and for how many hours per day are these meals available？ 究竟要幾多個要幾多個一星期要幾多個禮拜啦，同埋幾多個鐘頭咧係會供應咧？咁你會睇翻呢一度啦，佢話係 Monday to Friday， 咁另外咧就11點至3點，咁你要將佢變翻咧就會係寫翻咧係how many days a week 咧就係變咗係應該係5 days a week 啦。咁仲有咧係寫翻係4 hours， 即係11點至3點嘅4 hours a day 或者 per day 都得嘅。接住啦 ，Sandra who is 14 and Wendy who is 17 go to Mario's Italian restaurant with their father. Sandra and her father order meal B and Wendy orders meal A. What will the total cost be？ 咁呢一度咧，你會見到佢係14歲啦，而 Wendy 係17歲。咁你會睇翻咧，佢喺呢度講咗咧，就係話children under age 16 or under get 50% off the above price。咁好啦，呢一度啦就會係佢話係一定要係幾多歲啊？要係16歲或以下啊嘛，即係只有 Sandra 嗰個咧就係有 discount 啦。咁而 Wendy 就唔會啦，同埋咁而 Wendy 即係一個係 Sandra， 一個係 Wendy。咁接住咧就仲有同埋佢阿爸，即係兩個係成年嘅價錢啦。跟住之後一個咧就係一個細嘅價錢。咁Sandra 同埋佢阿爸就分別係 order 呢個 meal B， 咁而 B 咧就係220，咁而佢 father 就係220啦。咁而 Sandra 咧就係110啦，因為半價啊嘛，佢話 50% 啫嘛。咁另外咧就到仲有Wendy 咧。就係 order meal A 嘅，咁 Wendy 係17歲啦，咁所以咧就係冇嘅，所以係正價。咁所以510啦，510加220再加110咧，就會係等於係840蚊嘅。接住咧由 Session 3 to 11咧，都係關於呢個Claire。呢個 Claire 關於佢嘅佢嗰個煮餸啊，同埋佢間餐廳嘅一個故仔。Claire was very happy because she had recently bought a restaurant in which she had been a chef。即係喺裏邊咧，佢係而家咧就佢曾經咧喺嗰間餐廳做過廚師嘅。he had in which he had been a chef for many years， 即係裏邊咧做咗好耐廚師啦。As she looked around the restaurant， 即係佢周圍望下間餐廳啦。She looked around the restaurant and all the people eating there. She felt very proud of her achievement。即係佢咧就以佢嗰個即係成就咧，佢覺得好驕傲啦。 She had always wanted to own a restaurant and she was determined. Determined 係解好決心啦。Determined to turn hers into the most successful restaurant in town. Claire had bought the restaurant 2 months ago and since that happy day, 即係自從嗰日咁快樂嘅日子啦 she had been very busy. Today she was taking the day off to have a rest. It was Tuesday and the restaurant was never busy on Tuesdays, even at dinner time. 即係話咧，星期二通常餐廳都比較靜。She had asked the training chefs to come to the restaurant to cook that day. 即係話揾咗個其他嘅一啲即係訓練中嘅廚師嚟煮餸啦。She planned to spend the day with her husband, whom she hadn't seen properly in a while. 係啦，咁同佢丈夫啦，就要度嗰一日就想放假。咁接住啦 ，the chefs 乜嘢咧 ？Were training did not have a lot of experience。咁即係話呢個 chefs 即係嗰啲廚師啦，人嚟㗎啦，所以用 who were training did not have a lot of experience. But Claire 乜嘢 the trainee chefs respected very much.Knew that they could cope with running the restaurant for a night。咁即係話咧，嗰啲but Claire 啦，而嗰個咧應該係 whom， 即係話咧 whom the trainee chefs respect。其實本身嗰句咧就係 the trainee chefs respect Claire very much。本身係呢一句嘅，不過 combine 咗之後咧，就變咗用 whom the trainee chef respects Claire very much。咁如果你唔識用 whom 咧，其實可以用翻 who 都啱嘅。Knew that they could cope， 即係話咧，但係 Claire 咧就知道佢哋係應該可以 cope with， 即係能夠可以應付啊，即係能夠可以 deal with 應付呢一個即係嗰一晚，因為佢要放假。Many years ago。When Claire was training, she had a teacher， 即係話當佢受訓練嗰陣時，佢就有位老師啦 ，whose words stayed with her for the rest of her career。而嗰個即係佢嘅，即係佢講嘅嘢就係即係已經佢令佢即係銘記心中咁嘅意思啊。Whose words stayed with her for the rest of her career？career 即係佢嘅事業。The teacher has said that cooking, which was her great passion in life,was about ideas and instinct。好啦，我呢度寫翻先啦。Cooking 係一個死物啦，所以咧係 which was her great passion in life 係其實咧 cooking 係關於即係一啲要有諗頭啦，同埋要 instinct 係乜嘢咧？係直覺。Chefs could practice cooking for months, but if they did not use instinct in the restaurants where they worked,即係嗰間餐廳，咁係 where did they work 㗎嘛？呢個係講嘅地方 where did they work? They would never be great. Claire tried to share this knowledge with her trainee chefs. Claire walked down the stairs to the kitchen in which the trainee chefs were cooking. She was going to ask Michael, 第8啦，who was particularly good at making cakes， 而係一個人，所以我哋會用翻 who。To make the desserts for the evening, she also needed to tell Susie whose role it would be to make the starters。而她的責任啊，她的角色，即係嗰晚嘅角色最主要咧，係主要係做呢個甜品。To go down to the pantry, where she would find the ingredients for the night's meal。喺嗰度 pantry 即係一個儲物，即係擺食物嘅地方。而喺嗰度咧，佢哋就會揾到所有嘅材料啦。She was surprised to see that the trainee chefs looked very scared because Tuesday was an easy day to cook in her restaurant。即係佢覺得咧，嗰啲廚師覺得點解佢嗰啲訓練中嘅廚師會有啲咁驚嘅咧？因為星期二其實應該係好易煮啊，嗰餐即係應該星期二唔係太多人嘅啫。咁好啦，咁跟住之後咧，點解佢哋咁驚咧？就話啦 ，It was clear from their faces that the training chefs。好啦，呢一度咧，你會見到咧，就係話佢之前即係呢件事啦，就係佢見到佢哋嘅樣啦。原來佢哋之前係俾人哋嚇親 ，had been shocked by something. Claire always makes sure that her employees 中數啊，所以呢個咧係 were taken care of， 即係話咧佢嘅員工一定要被佢哋好好照顧啦。So she asked them what had happened. One of the chefs, Michael, explained, I answered the phone this morning and I was told， 因為 this morning 啦個 keyword 係，咁就係話今朝人哋話俾佢聽 I was told that your restaurant 呢一度咧，佢話 this evening 今晚咧有個人會嚟睇你嘅餐廳啊。咩叫 critic 咧？即係嗰個食評。咁評論員啦，咁如果假如係食物嘅評論員就係叫食評啦。咁I was told that your restaurant 第四咧係應該係 will be judged， 因為 this evening 咧係未發生嘅，咁所以咧就係 will be judged 啦。By a famous food critic this evening is Philip Gaston， 咁即係話有個好出名嘅食評咧就會去嚟試食喎。Oh no, said Claire. Philip Gaston 乜嘢 for being very cruel when he writes about restaurants。咁佢就話呢個食評家係好出名啦，但係咧係非常之知名啊 ，is known， 即係人都知，即係話變咗好似一個 fact 咁樣啦，就係人都知，眾所周知就係佢係非常之殘酷嘅，即係個餐廳唔好咧，佢就俾劣評噶啦。The restaurant down the road， 好啦，呢件事咧，你見到 recently 啦，即係近排咧，佢咩叫 down the road， 即係前面條街嗰間餐廳咧，就係 had been written about by him recently and they might have to close down， 即係話咧嗰間餐廳俾佢寫劣評之後咧，就可能要執笠啦。The restaurant 呢一度啦 at the moment。即係話嗰間即係 the restaurant down the road 嗰間餐廳咧就要被好多人即係避免啊，因為嗰個劣評好差啦，咁所以咧就 is being avoid。其實最主要係因為呢一個嘅at the moment。咁因為嗰個 bad review 咧，即係嗰個評價實在太差。Don't worry, said Susie, another of the trainee chefs. For the past few months， 嗱你見到 for 啦 ，for the past few months， we have been trained by one of the best chefs in town. We have been trained， 即係話咧，我哋一直咧係被一個最好嘅廚師所訓練啦。As a team, we'll make it. But while she 乜嘢咧？你見到 while 啦 ，while she was being compliment， 即係俾咩叫 compliment 咧？即係 praise， 即係讚美。While she was being complimented by her trainees, Claire was worrying about the night ahead。你見到 if 啦，你 if 嗰個 sentence with if clause 咧，就只會用翻一係就 simple present， 一係就 simple past。If her food 乜嘢 by Philip Gaston, her dream would come crashing down around her。如果個食評家唔中意佢嘅食物咧，就佢嗰個餐廳可能就要執笠啦，就好多人會避免佢間餐廳啦。If her food was not enjoyed by Philip Gaston, her dream would come crashing down around her。好啦，到 reporter speech 啦，呢度就話啦 ，You are the best teacher we've ever had, Susie told Claire。咁呢度咧就會係即係複述啦，就會 told Claire that she was the best teacher they， 因為 we 就要，如果呢個 we 就會變咗 they 啦 ，they had ever had。咁如果一轉咗嘅咧，就會係你會見到係呢個就轉咗做 was 啦，have 就變咗 had 啦。好啦，第二句啦 ，What time is Gaston arriving this evening? asked Claire。咁樣咧就 Claire asked what time， 因為佢係一個 WH 嘅問題，所以照寫就得㗎啦。咁名詞同動詞要調轉啦。Gaston was arriving that evening。咁你會見到咧轉咗嘅嘢咧就係is 就轉咗 was 啦，另外 this 咧就轉咗 that。好啦，接住啦，呢一個 Who is going to cook for Gaston? asked Susie and Michael。咁 Susie and Michael asked who was going to cook for Gaston。係啦，究竟係邊個會煮俾佢咧？咁主要轉咗咧就係 is 啦，就轉咗做 was 嘅啫。咁因為 WH question 就照放翻落去。I could try to cook my best meal tonight, thought Claire。咁樣咧，住 Claire 就話好啦，我會取消放假啦。咁於是就會佢自己煮啦。咁就 thought that she could 就寫翻 could 就得㗎啦。could try to cook her best meal tonight 就轉 that night。 好啦，呢一個轉嘅咧就會係could唔需要轉啦，淨係轉咗 tonight 就轉咗做 that night 係咁多啦。好啦，接住啦 fetch 即係咩意思啊 ？fetch 即係有一個 get 咁嘅意思 ，get 嘅意思。咁好啦 ，fetch my recipe book. Michael instructed Claire。咁 Claire 咧就即刻命令佢嗰個同事啦 ，instructed Michael to 啦，因為咧你會係命令啊嘛，咁所以咧就 fetch her recipe book。咁你會見到啦，呢一個咧就會係因為佢係命令句啦呢一度，咁所以呢一個咧就會係就加咗個 to， 咁其他咧都唔需要轉。好啦 ，Why didn't Claire ask more experienced chefs to help? Wondered Michael。咁 Michael 咧就好奇怪，點解唔揾啲即係訓練咗嘅廚師去幫佢手啊？咁 Michael wondered why。好啦 ，why 照寫翻 why 啦 ，why Claire。好啦，呢個 didn't 咧，記住咧就唔會再放翻入去嘅，咁你就一定係查咗佢嘅呢一個。咁 why Claire hadn't asked more experienced chefs to help。好啦，咁跟住就喺度奇怪話點解咧佢唔揾啲呢個 ask 咧就轉咗 had asked 啦。其餘都冇轉啦，咁就點解唔揾啲即係專業啲嘅廚師去幫佢咧？咁樣 Ask Ellie if she can come in today。咁呢個 Claire said。好啦，呢個 ask 呢個係命令句啦，咁所以咧就係 asked Ellie if she咁會係 said to ask Ellie if she could come in that day。好啦，咁呢度轉嘅咧就比較多啦，就會係呢一個咧就因為命令啦 ，ask 係命令句啦，就會加咗個 to 啦。咁跟住呢個咧 can 咧就會轉咗做呢一個係 could 啦。咁而 today 咧就轉咗做 that day。第8題啦 ，Ellie has been on holiday since last Tuesday, explained Susie。咁原來咧佢嗰個即係廚師咧就係放咗假㗎，咁所以 Susie explained that。咁呢個 Susie 係應該係 reset 本身文章係 reset 啦。Explained that Ellie had been on holiday since last Tuesday。咁呢啲全部都唔需要變嘅，咁唯一要變咧就係只係 has 咧就轉咗做 had， 咁就 OK 㗎啦。好啦，到第9同埋第10啦。Susie and I will stay here all day to help you, said Michael to Claire。咁樣咧就會Michael told Claire that 乜嘢咧 ？Susie and he would， 因為 will 就轉咗 would 啦 ，would stay all day to help her。咁呢一個咧轉咗嘅嘢咧就會係呢個 will 啦，就轉咗做呢一個嘅 would 啦。跟住係咁多啦。咁接住最尾啦 ，wash your hands and put your aprons on. Claire ordered them。咁呢一個咧 ，Claire ordered them。咁因為係 instruction 啦，所以你就加 to 啦 ，to wash their hands and put their aprons on them。咁呢一度咧，你會見到咧變咗嘅嘢咧就係加咗個 to 啦。咁另外咧 your 就變咗做 their 啦。咁另外呢個都係一樣轉 their 啦。咁now 咧就轉咗做個 them。好啦，到個adjective adverbs 同埋 comparatives 啦。Claire likes to work quickly when she was in the kitchen， 即係佢好中意咧係做嘢快快手手，唔會拖時間嘅，咁所以係 quickly。Because she ran the restaurant, she ordered people about 乜嘢 than when she worked there before。即係佢因為買一間餐廳嘛，之前其實佢係只係廚師嚟嘅啫嘛。咁而家佢係老細，佢能夠命令啲人去做嘢咧，係 more confident。但係呢個咧，因為 order 係一個 verb 啦，我哋呢個係需要將佢變做一個 adverb， 所以係 more confidently than when she worked there before。Sometimes Michael and Susie thought that she must be the 你見到個 the 啦，所以係 the meanest boss in town。But they also knew that she was one of the 咁當然係 best cooks in the area。She could cook the 乜嘢咧 the most 嗱 cook 係 verb 啦，咁所以咧呢一個咧我哋亦都要將佢變 adverb， 即係加 skillfully， 所以咧 cook the most skillfully。Cook the most skillfully of any of the teachers they had had. She always got the food out on time and it always looked 呢一個啦，因為佢有個 than 啦後邊，所以咧就係 more impressive， 即係話咧係比佢哋煮得更加令人印象深刻。impressive 即係令人印象深刻。Now that Philip Gaston was coming, Claire was determined to display her meals very carefully， 因為 display 係個 verb 啦，咁所以咧係要好小心咁樣去展示佢嗰個餸菜啦。Claire found untidiness very annoying， 即係佢咧唔可以接受咧啲人咧係好唔整齊嘅，咁所以咧佢煮嘅餸咧佢一定要係好整齊，跟住就開始煮啦。好啦，接住啦到 conditional 啦。Claire decided that they should cook lobster for Gaston， 即係要煮呢一個嘅龍蝦。While lobster was cooking, Claire thought that she 嗱呢度你見到啦有個 if 啦，咁呢個後邊係 didn't like 喎，咁呢個就係 conditional two 啦。She would be surprised if Gaston didn't like her food. Michael and Susie helped her to cook the meal and she taught them at the same time. 接住啦 ，if butter sauce is not thick enough, it runs all over the plate， 即係話如果啲牛油咧係唔夠濃咧，就會走到周圍都係㗎啦。呢個咧係 conditional 零，因為呢一個咧係一啲自然，即係會有一啲事實，每一次都係咁嘅，所以咧就係 conditional 零呢一個 fact 啦。And if we serve a runny sauce to Gaston， 即係咩意思咧？嗰啲醬係唔夠結咧，喺度即係會倒來倒去啦。He will write a bad review。咁呢一個咧就係 conditional one 啦。He will write。She told Michael to watch the clock carefully because if lobster is cooked for too long, it 就會點樣啦？嗱，你會見到 if 啦。如果咧係被煮得太熟咧，就會is cooked 嗱呢個係太熟啦，呢一個咧係應該係零嚟㗎，即係每次煮太熟嘅咧都會變得好鹹同埋係 unpleasant to eat， 即係唔好味。咁所以呢一個咧係每次發生咧都係啱嘅，即係每一次都會，每次煮得太耐都會係變成 very tough and unpleasant to eat. If her more experienced chef， 頭先我哋講過 Ellie 啦，佢放咗假啊嘛 ，had been able to come in， Claire 就會覺得安全啲、開心啲啦。你見到 if， 但係呢度有 had been， 用 had been。咁 Claire 咧就會點樣咧？就會呢個係 conditional three 啦，即係佢只係希望啦，但係好可惜係唔得嘅，就會係 would have felt， 即係會覺得咧係會係有多啲信心。Nevertheless， 即係 however 咁嘅意思啦。She was glad that Susie and Michael had been there to help. If they 嗱又有個 if 啦，乜嘢 her she would not have finished。呢個咧就係 conditional three， 所以前邊咧就係 if they had not helped， 即係冇幫翻佢啦。If they had not helped her, she would not have finished the meal on time. They had performed better than she had expected. She decided that if they continued to work so hard, they 第七咧嗱，你會見到 if 啦 continued， 所以咧係呢個係 conditional two。They would she would give them promotion， 即係話咧 give them a promotion， 即係令佢升職啊，變成一個 proper chef， 變成一個真正嘅廚師。The waiter came down to the kitchen. If he's on time, he explained. Philip Gaston 第八啦 will arrive at 7:30 p.m. 好啦，呢一個咧 if he is on time 呢個 conditional one 啦，佢就將會幾點到啦 will arrive at 7:30 p.m. However, he is often early. Claire looked at the clock. It was 6:30 p.m. and they had a lot to do. If I had had more time, she said, I 乜嘢咧？第九咧就會係應該啦。佢話呢個 had 啊嘛，即係如果我有多啲時間咧，咁但係其實係冇㗎。I would have made a souffle for dessert， 即係話咧。如果有時間就好啦，佢會可以整一個即係嗰啲法國嘅梳芙梨嘅中文係一種芝士嘅甜品啦。But I will have to make something less complicated。 Susie, Michael, if Philip Gaston likes this meal, we 乜嘢咧？因為今晚啊嘛，咁呢個 likes 係現在式啦，咁呢個應該係 conditional one，即係將會有可能發生，所以就 we will celebrate， 我哋咧就會慶祝啦，今晚 we will celebrate tonight。好啦，接住啦 tenses 啦。As a trainee chef, Claire had learned an important lesson that you can become a brilliant chef by， 因為 by 後邊咧就會加 gerund 噶嘛 ，by following your instincts， 即係頭先我教過你啦，直覺。At 7:20 p.m. the lobster finished， 即係嗱，你見到呢個時間係一個 fix 嘅時間，所以咧就係 finished。Finished cooking. While Michael， 嗱你見到因為呢個有個 while 啦，所以呢個咧係 was putting the lobster carefully on the plate for Gaston. Claire suddenly thought that she should 後邊咧就係不變動詞嘅 should pour mustard dressing on it. What are you doing? Cried Susie. You might ruin it.Ruin it 即係意思係 destroy 會 damage 咗嗰個嘅味道啦。咩叫 mustard 咧？就係嗰啲芥辣醬啊，即係黃色嗰啲。但 Gaston 佢話咧，如果即係你可能會即係整壞咗啲味道啦。但 Gaston will close the restaurant down. Will close. No chef 即係從來都冇廚師咧，係 before 即係以前到而家都未有。咁係咪牽涉而家都未有啊？咁所以咧就會用 has combined。No chef has combined mustard with lobster before, replied Claire. 咁跟住佢就話咩啊？我而家咧係用緊我嘅直覺啊 ，I am using my instinct。而家即係佢而家咁講啦，嗱呢一個咧係冇 keyword 嘅，但係呢一個好多時都係咁樣考。佢話我而家用緊我嘅直覺啫。好啦 ，when she 乜嘢咧 had added。The mustard dressing to the lobster, the waiter took it away. 好啦，當佢加咗啲芥辣醬之後咧，佢就拎去啦。嗱，雖然咧你見到個 when 啊，但係呢一個咧係先做，呢個係後，即係話咧係 took it away 之前咧就加咗 had added， 即係佢加咗啲芥辣醬之後先至喺呢一個時間度拎出去。咁所以呢一個咧就需要一個 past participle 啦。I used to avoid risky recipes, she continued, but this time因為對話之內用翻現在式啦 I am confident that it will work. Now we need to start the dessert. 咁而家開始咧，要準備嗰個嘅甜品啦。好啦，第10啦。The waiter took the meal to the table. 因為點解要 the 咧？係 where Philip Gaston was sitting， 即係嗰度坐啦。嗰張台即係 special 指明嗰張台，所以要用 the。The food critic looked like he was in a bad mood， 即係個心情好似唔係幾好喎。He was frowning， 即係喺度皺眉頭啦。As he wrote some notes， 眾數，所以咧唔需要指明嘅 notes 啦，亦都唔需要加 a 或者 an。Claire was very nervous, especially because she had put mustard， 因為咧芥辣呢樣嘢係數唔到嘅，就所以咧就咁put mustard on the lobster. What would Gaston think? Claire, Michael and Susie stood in the kitchen， 佢哋就企喺廚房度啦。And Michael had a nervous look on his face. They watched as Philip slowly ate the lobster， 即係話咧佢哋咧就喺度睇下當 Philip 喺度慢慢咁食佢個龍蝦嗰陣時 ，and wrote about it。After half an hour， 呢一個咧就半個鐘之後啦 ，Gaston had finished eating the meal and asked 第9啦 ，asked the waiter， 即係嗰啲即係嗰間餐廳嘅指明嘅嗰啲嘅waiter 啦，就問啦 ，if he could speak to the person， 因為指明嗰個人啦 ，the person who had cooked， 即係嗰個煮餸嗰個人啦。Claire took a deep breath and walked to his table。咁佢咧就好緊張，就行去佢嗰個張台啦。咁究竟佢係煮得好唔好？即係佢中唔中意有啲芥辣落去佢個龍蝦度咧，就唔知道啦。咁而家睇埋啦。Gaston turned his chair so that he could walk to Claire properly. She was very nervous. since he was famous for being mean to chefs， 即係因為咧佢係好即係好差嘅，即係對啲廚師咧係好 mean， 即係好斤斤計較或者係要求好高。He looked angry， 跟住 Claire thought he must have hated the food。個樣好似好嬲咁啦，咁所以佢覺得佢會係好嬲，所以用 so 啦。乜嘢咧 ？She prepared herself to argue with him and defend her restaurant。即係話咧咩叫 defend 咧？係 protect， 即係咁佢咧佢而家一路佢咧就係話佢會覺得佢會唔中意食物啦，因為佢都個樣好似好嬲咁樣咧，好嬲咁樣。咁所以咧就佢咧就準備咗已經 prepare herself to argue with him， 即係會同佢辯論㗎啦。咁所以佢就會行出去咧。就會準備同佢辯論啦，就會話佢會保護間餐廳，等佢唔好寫個劣評啦。乜嘢 ？When Gaston looked up from his notes, he said, "I love it." 竟然話我好中意啊！但係同佢相反啊嘛，咁即係本身諗住佢係唔中意，但係點知係中意。一個相反嘅關係咧，你就用 however。The lobster was particularly brilliant because of the mustard dressing， 因為。At first I was surprised, but 第七啦 ，then I was delighted。即係開頭咧就好驚訝，驚訝完之後咧佢係覺得好開心。Delighted means happy， 即係話咧係覺得好好味嘅。When she bought the restaurant Claire, I thought it would be terrible, but I was wrong。但係咧係錯㗎。即係佢諗住佢買呢間餐廳，呢間餐廳其實唔係太好食一啲嘢，咁佢覺得係自己即係佢係搞錯咗，唔應該咁做。咁但係原來佢係搞錯，即係佢覺得係自己佢認為係即係估佢 run 唔掂呢樣嘢係錯嘅。Claire was extremely shocked. She realized that she would fall over unless she sat down， 即係除非佢坐低啦，如果唔係咧佢就會跌低㗎啦。第10。So she sat on the nearest chair， 咁佢就所以咧就坐低咗先同嗰個食評講嘢啦。She was so pleased that following her instincts had led to such a great success。即係話咧，根據佢嗰個嘅直覺咧，原來係有咁成功嘅一個嘅結果嘅咁樣。